Save the jokes. Save the jokes.
Is that light too bright? I can turn that off.
That's good. Hang on. One second. Hello, Lewis. How are you?
Dan, I'm really well. Very good year.
And one more time. I just got to hit record. I forget how to make a podcast. Here we go. G'day, Lewis. How are you?
I'm very well, Daniel. How are you?
Happy New Year to you.
And same to you. How's summer? How's life? You're looking. I can't tell if you're looking tan because your light is so bright that you actually look like you've got a post-apocalyptic tan.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I have been in a bunker for the last 4 years, so I don't know exactly what's happened, but I've emerged like a cicada and I'm ready to get my F on. Yeah. We are back. This is episode 98, which means, Lewis, episode 100 is coming up very soon. We've got a live show with Alice Fraser, Gabby Bolt, Sammy Shah. Lewis, you're doing it, I believe, I hope.
Thank you. Again, I love to hear what I'm doing on these introductions.
Also, DJ Tom Loud is playing the show, aka Hot Dub Time Machine. Chris Taylor is joining us, and I've got a hint of a special guest who I've been trading emails with Lewis to see if they would also do the show. I'll give you a hint.
Okay, I already know they use email, so that's a good start.
He's recently moved to Sydney.
Matt Damon.
No, and it's not Matt Damon. It's not Sacha Baron Cohen, but he does facilitate people putting toys together on television.
Oh, interesting.
And he is your professional competitor.
I mean, sometimes. Let's be honest. He and I are not competitors. He is so much more successful than me. I would be surprised if he was aware that we are competitors.
There we go. So February 10th, Giant Dwarf in Sydney. I'm recording my end of Rational Fear on Gadigal land in the Eora Nation. Sovereignty was never ceded. We need a treaty. Let's start the show. Bring these two in. There we go. Here we go. Tonight, Scott Morrison scolds Cricket Australia for acknowledging Indigenous genocide by saying, isn't changing one word in the anthem enough? And while Steve Bannon was pardoned by Donald Trump, only one of his 7 shirts will be allowed out of prison. And Kamala Harris becomes the 47th president of America. Oh, no, sorry, false alarm. I read that wrong. It's not right. It's the 22nd of January. A new day has dawned in America. This is A Rational Fear. Hey, and welcome to Irrational Fear. I'm your host, former owner-operator of the Greater Wynwood Exotic Animal Park, Dan Illich. Joining us to hold our hands through the toughest of stories this week is an American expat who refuses to acknowledge that the Trump administration ever happened. You may have heard him on TGIF. It's Tommy Dean. G'day, Tommy.
Hello to you, world.
As an American, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling relieved. I'm feeling like we're moving forward, to borrow an Australian phrase, which we should borrow more of. I feel like a time for unity is here, but I think that only because Joe Biden said unity so many times, it's on my mind.
and she's on a quest to meet the king of spin. So far, buying out a billboard and having a hit track with collabs from Flume and G-Flip isn't getting his attention. Who knows? It's Lucina Price. Lucinda, what will be enough to get Shane Warne's attention?
Well, I got it last night. He started following me on Instagram.
Wow, we're breaking news here on Irrational Fear.
It took me 5 years. 5 years of messaging him back and forth, but now he will be my husband.
Congrats.
And finally is a man with legs that just won't quit. It's Lewis Hobba.
It's summer. I obviously, if you're listening to this podcast in 6 months, it's American summer. It's always summer somewhere, baby. But one thing, I wear shorts. That's call me crazy.
Man, if you follow Lewis on Instagram, you got some great summer pics ahead of you.
Thank you so. Yeah, get involved, please. I don't. Shane Warne isn't following me, but we'll see.
I can hook you up.
Thank you so much. But every time I wear shorts, someone asks me if I'm just gone for a run, and it's because my dumb legs are so skinny.
Right.
They just assume I'm always jogging.
Right.
Nipples are bleeding.
Coming up later in the.
That's just because Army Hammer and I are friends.
Coming up later in the podcast, I have a chat with US-based Australian roving reporter Brad Blanks with his Washington. Sorry. Coming up later in the podcast, I have a chat with US-based Australian reporter Brad Blanks from his Washington, D.C. hotel, where he was so close to the Joe Biden inauguration, you could hear his pacemaker. But first, a message from this week's sponsor.
As spreaders of misinformation are banned from social media, there's only one man you can turn to for reliable untruths. Craig Kelly.
There has been complete abandonment of reason.
The most trusted man in lies is backing up every ill-conceived social media post and every awful conspiracy to his own website, craiganon.com. For just $1 a week, you can get all the posts that Craig Kelly will soon be banned from posting publicly at craiganon.com, where he'll be posting anonymously under the nom de plume Craig Kelly MP. But how will you know it's Craig? Posts will be unhinged, misspelt, and recycled from his Sky News rants.
If you look at the peer-reviewed numbers, we're going to have pestilence and plague. The 7 seas are going to sort of boil and rise.
Because there's only one thing better than free speech, and that's speech so free it's untethered to reality. Sign up to craiganon.com, because the cost of free speech should be $1 a week. Craiganon proceeds will go towards Craig Kelly's Senate run in 2021, so he can be a Craig upon both your houses.
Yes. All right, let's get stuck into the fears. This week's first fear. Is the Australian Open a tennis tournament or a re-education camp? Tennis players are some of the world's most privileged individuals, and yet because a few of them just brought a little bit of coronavirus into the country with them, they've gone and got their balls in a knot. Fearmongers, should they be complaining about being stuck in quarantine? Tommy Dean?
Yes, they should. Because how else would we know they are there? I think what a lot of us overlook about the professional tennis player is they only exist 4 times a year.
That's the Australian Open, Wimbledon, the US Open, and
sometimes the French Open. A few of them appear for that, but that's played in some sort of weird surface that not everyone likes.
I love the arrogance of Australians to be like, you should be lucky to be here. It's like they all live in Monaco for tax purposes. Have you been to Monaco? It's delightful. They're not lucky to be here. We want them here because we have nothing else to do except watch tennis.
Novak Djokovic wrote a list of demands that he brainstormed with a bunch of other players, including move as many players as possible to a private house with a tennis court to facilitate training. I don't know, in Melbourne, all those houses are in Toorak, which was ground zero for coronavirus. That's never going to happen.
I have an idea.
What's that, Frooms?
Put them in the Big Brother house.
Oh, no, that's interesting. The Gold Coast Open.
I agree. It's the I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here Australian Open version.
Yeah,
I think it would be ideal.
I mean,
because some of the stuff that they eat for training, it would not be something a real human would want to consume. So I think it would be a lot of fun to watch. It is
getting to that point, though. Some of the players have taken their protest one step further, then posted photos of themselves holding up signs against their hotel windows saying stuff like, I need practice, which kind of echoes similar signs that detained asylum seekers in Melbourne have been holding up against their windows for the last 14 months. Kazakh star Yulia Putintseva even held up a sign reminiscent of the BLM protest, which said, I need to breathe fresh air. I'll tell you what, if I was an asylum seeker, I'd be holding up a sign against my window saying, we'll play tennis for freedom. Fearmongers, is this kind of behaviour okay?
Well, Australia has a proud history of skipping the queue if you're handy at sport. Like it goes a long way back.
Yeah. To win.
We've had there was the entire Dokic family. Remember the Dokic family? They were pretty handy at tennis. And Damir Dokic was they were just like skipped him through. And then we had the
Tatiana Grigorieva. year 2000, silver at the Sydney Olympics in pole vaulting.
Yeah, I mean, this is a Hunger Games suggestion, but it doesn't feel out of the pocket for Peter Dutton to just say every refugee competes in some sort of scratch match. We find out what they're good at, send them to the AIS. I don't like it. But
Tommy Dean, you came here on a sports bridging visa. What sport did you do?
Oh, there's so many. That was the thing at the time. I was a heptathlete, so I could just do a little bit of everything. That was the secret with the pentathlon's another choice. The decathlon, just be kind of good at a lot of stuff. No need to stand out, and yet you get to travel the world as an elite sportsman. I think the mistake tennis players have made is they totally focused on a single elimination sport. I can understand why a lot of the not so good players are deeply upset. They've had to stay here for 14 days, which is like 10 days longer than most of them have to stay here during the actual tournament. They show up, play a match, pick up a check, go home.
I was just going to say, they're the perfect vectors, aren't they? They really are.
That full quote from Dan Andrews as well, when he told Novak Djokovic that he wouldn't be giving into his list of demands. The sentence he said before it was, people are free to send their list of demands, but no. But as soon as I heard that, I was like, wait, what? We're just allowed to send Daniel Andrews our demands? Oh my God. All right. This is like better than Christmas. I'll put it full. Dear Santa, $1 million, please.
I don't know if you saw this, but Sportsbet had put out a list of demands that Novak Djokovic was going to put up next. On it include karaoke and smoke machines for all the players' rooms, permission to play at any Melbourne karaoke bar. This one had quite long odds. Bruce McAvaney to join the Channel 9's Australian Open coverage. But the longest one was at $67. It was a slab of VB, and I thought that was pretty accurate. No one's going to be ordering a slab of VB.
But I think a lot of them are just asking for what they would have expected to get at the tournament. I did fresh towels at every change. That's easy.
Toilet breaks.
A couple of kids in the corner to pick the balls up for them. That's what they're missing the most. Who doesn't miss a couple of kids chasing your balls down for you?
Back in my day, that was called room service.
Yeah.
I've been trying to think about how to solve this because I love watching the tennis. I'm not a huge tennis fan. I'm an Australian tennis fan. I care for a month a year. But I do think that we do need to come up with some sort of solution for international sport. We've got the Olympics in Tokyo coming up later on this year as well. We need to come up with some sort of solution for that. And I think it should just be cruise ships. Like we take the cruise ships. They've got it all. They've got tennis courts. We move all the players onto a cruise ship. TV crew, trainers, family, OnlyFans girlfriends. We move them all onto the cruise ship, and then it just sails from port to port. And we can just watch they can just pull up the Australian Open on the Ruby Princess, and then it's they can pull in to the at the harbour in the US and just travel around.
And you know what they could do? You could be put into the semi-finals if you're the most popular on TikTok.
I love
that's what everyone's doing in the hotel quarantine. It's amazing.
Yeah.
There's no reason. There's no reason that in the world that we're moving towards, we should prize honesty. There's no reason that we even have to get all together in Tokyo for the Olympics. Why not just let everyone run the event on their home track and tell us what their time was? I just did the 100-meter dash, 10.41. How'd you guys go?
I did 100 meters in 4 seconds. I beat you guys.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. World record again.
A lot of records this Olympic.
A lot of records.
Thank you.
That's what we want. That's what we want. Lots of records, no drugs. Zoom.
This week's second fear. Collectively, the world sphincter has loosened as the peaceful passing of the USA's nuclear codes went from Trump to Biden. The inauguration was a star-studded affair with appearances from stars like Tom Hanks. J-Lo took to the stage to perform her 1999 hit, Let's Get Loud, introed and outroed by 4 minutes of This Land Is Your Land. And in a sign of unity, Garth Brooks, the whitest of all country singers, sang the African-American spiritual, Amazing Grace. It was a nice touch, even if halfway through, he encouraged everyone around him at the inaugurations to sing along too, forgetting for a moment that there was a global pandemic. I was in shock, not because of the request to sing, but I totally forgot that before 2016, there were celebrities other than Scott Baio in Kid Rock. I totally forgot about that. Now, did you folks watch any of the inaugurations? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I dabbled. For me, it could have used a bit more Three Doors Down. I was like, Trump had it, baby. He had all the big names. Three Doors Down. I actually Googled during the inauguration who played at Trump's rally, because I remembered everyone who said no, but I didn't actually remember who had said yes. I remembered Three Doors Down. But there was this guy who played the Trump inauguration who you should go and look up. His name is DJ Ravi Drums. And essentially, he is like the Timmy Trumpet of the drum world. So for the Timmy Trumpet fans, he's a DJ who plays the trumpet. And he's an Australian guy, hugely, very rich, but quite odd. And I mean, musically. And DJ Ravi Drums is that. He DJs and plays the drum kit. And people are like, first of all, where were you on the list? Who are they asking that DJ Ravi Drums is playing? We're at a point where like Joe actually got Bruce Springsteen. Trump got rejected by a Bruce Springsteen cover band. That is a true story. Like, that's where we were. There he is, DJ Ravi Drums.
There he is.
And he's like, first generation immigrant, and everyone was like, what are you doing? Like, this guy hates immigrants. He's just like, my dad's sick, and this is the last chance I'll get to perform at an inauguration before my dad. And everyone's like, all right, Ravi Drums, that's good.
You're in. You're in.
Don't forget, there was also the USA Freedom Kids, like a little like toddlers dance troupe who eventually had to sue Donald Trump's campaign to get paid for the gig.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
right. Yeah, that's right.
God.
Did they ever get paid, Tommy? Do you remember that?
I don't know if the suit filed all the way through. I just knew it was big news that Freedom Kids had to fight Freedom Master for their furniture.
Well, it was a very different scene 2 weeks prior. We all know the story as the Capitol building was taken over by some enthusiastic World of Warcraft cosplayers. Unfortunately, 4 people didn't respawn. It was very, very sad. Tommy, you have a family in America. How conservative are they, and how are they managing this moment in time?
They're very conservative. They're all the conservatives. They're NRA, they are Republican, they are Christian right. It's the trifecta of why I live in Australia. So they're very conservative. But they're also reasonable people, so it's been kind of interesting they've always loved Donald Trump. He's always been their president. They love the Republican Party. And at every misstep, as we would call it, they just saw it as an educational moment. Well, he'll learn from that. That was my favorite. That's the most I've ever heard my mom say that since I was a kid. He'll learn from that. Oh, he'll learn from that. Yeah.
Oh,
Mom, how do you feel about your guy paying off a professional porn star? Oh, he'll learn. He'll learn.
He didn't obviously learn anything.
That's crazy. And in fact, I think a lot of it, watching the Capitol riot tapes, I'm convinced about 2/3 of the people just got swept up. I think there's 1/3 instigators and insurrectionists, and 2/3 of people were just like, wonder where everybody's going. Hey, that looks fun. Let's just go.
It's kind of interesting. I read a Reuters article today in kind of preparing for the show, and they are a part of a whole bunch of Telegram channels on the app Telegram, where QAnon supporters are going, what the hell happened? What happened to the grand plan? What? Hang on, does Q not exist at all? What's going on? This is going to be very disappointing for those people to come back to reality.
Well, the guy who has been like the main QAnon distributor, like kind of people suspect he is Q, but never confirmed. He sent everyone home. His post today was, guys, it was essentially what the message was, it's over, forget this. But the real friends was like the real journey with the friends we made along the way, essentially.
Oh God!
It's interesting you say that, because I've seen posts from some of my crazy friends that have been like Q oriented who are saying the same thing. Look, I'm a little disturbed to work out that this might have been a hoax, but I'm sticking to the fact that I researched for myself. I learned a lot of stuff about me, and sure, the flat earthers are idiots, but we had a reason.
Frooms, you spent a lot of time on the internet. Have you come across many QAnon supporters who are kind of in your world?
No.
I mean, we don't know.
What sort of your self bubble do you live in, Lucinda? How do you not come across it? Well, the question is, how do I accidentally stumble into pits of them?
I mean, I'd love to find out that Shane Warne was a secret QAnon guy.
QAnon.
Yeah.
Now that the Trump... what did you say, Lucinda? Sorry.
I just said never say never. You never know where his heart lies.
Now that the Trump administration is over, focus for the former president turns to building the presidential library. Rumours have it could be the first presidential library with a drive-through. Given that Trump has never visited a library, fearmongers, what will the Donald Trump library look like? Frooms, what do you reckon?
Like a McDonald's, like he said. How amazing would that? He could make a mega McDonald's store. It would actually be amazing. I think kids would want to go to the Trump Museum, which would be great for America.
It would be amazing if it was like a full drive-through and you just ordered, it was like, I'll have an Art of the Deal meal. And it's like, do you want Mein Kampf with that? I think that'd be great.
I think it'd just be a series like a McDonald's, but more like the roadside, like the highway McDonald's. It's the building next to the McDonald's that you kind of like can wander into. It just has nothing but those rotating racks, those like postcard racks. It'd be a series of pamphlets. I don't see a lot of serious book work going on, but just like, truckers' hats, bumper stickers, pamphlets. That's what they all lived on for 4 years. That's what the legacy will be.
Someone on Twitter sent me a reply to my drive-through joke, and he said, yes, and you can order a magazine. I thought that was very good. I thought that was very good. That was very good. Well done. Well done. Lewis was the only one that didn't think that was very good.
I keep getting this. My camera's on.
Right before Biden was sworn in to systematically dismantle Donald Trump's legacy, the Trumps landed in Palm Beach, Florida, and just moments after landing, Melania Trump left Donald on the tarmac so that Donald could wave to the cameras all by himself, which had people on social media wondering, is it finally over? As in, is their marriage finally over? Frooms, is it over between Donald and Melania?
Yes. No, I think it's so interesting because now that the stakes aren't as high, like we can really enjoy the Melania lifestyle. Like hopefully she can open up a bit more and let us in because she's so mysterious and interesting.
Interesting. You think that's
secretly interesting? Exactly. I want desperately to wish that there's some amazing story about how she got trapped in the Trumpiverse. There
is an amazing story, and she's going to tell us one day.
I sure hope so, because right now I still have my money riding on she is a terrible person too.
Coming up at the end of the podcast, we reveal what Donald Trump wrote in a letter to Joe Biden as he took over the Oval Office. But earlier today, I had a chat with Brad Blanks, who was in Washington, D.C. for the inauguration. Here's how he saw it and how he, as an Australian, is feeling right now living in America. And for people who are watching this stream, I'm just going to play you a little teaser of it, and then we'll just get back to the show and wrap it up.
I'm kind of just going on the radio saying there's men with soldiers, and I'm not walking past them on corners. I'm scared. I can do that and get away with that. But what about the Argentinian American correspondent that needs something, and they're actually standing in the same spots as me at these locations around Washington D.C. where there's really no story. So
it must be strange. If there's no one out and about, probably if you're a local in DC and you're just walking by the mall, you must have gotten harangued by 1,000 reporters to see how you're feeling. Like by the time it gets to you, it'd be like the SAG Awards. Brad Blanks at the end of the line of the SAG Awards. Celebrities don't want to talk to you anymore. You're like, no, I've had enough. I've had enough of talking to reporters for today. I'm just trying to get some milk and some bread.
That's right. The poor woman walking in, Cocker Spaniel's just been smashed by reporters from all over the world. She's like, oh my goodness.
More from Brad Blanks. You can hear Brad Blanks on the podcast tomorrow.
It's interesting the focus, the fact that journalists are so used to having a constant churn of insanity to report on, and now suddenly like everyone's wired, everyone's like match fit for insanity, and there's no insanity to play. And I really wonder where that energy is going to go. Like for me, if I was a world leader, I would be nervous because for the last 4 years, you could shit on a stool in the middle of Parliament and it would not be the craziest story of the day. Like you could do almost anything and get away with it. Whereas now, like I saw today that Scott Morrison opened his mouth, and I don't know if you guys saw this about talking about the 12 ships that arrived in Australia and the day, Australia Day, and whether or not it should be celebrated. And his argument was it wasn't too flash for the guys on the ships either. Was more or less his quote. And like a week ago, mid-insurrection, that might not have hit the news. But today, all of a sudden, you're like, oh, that's the stupidest fucking thing that I'm going to hear today. Like, all of a sudden, the dumbest man in the room is you. You've got to, like, keep your shit together now.
After we've lived through this moment, it's kind of like, I'm thinking about Scott Morrison. Is he a white supremacist too? Is this what's going on?
The bar was so low for 4 years that you had to do nothing to jump over it. Now, we could be the lowest bar.
Well, right now in America, everybody's trying to out-crazy each other to kind of play to the Trump base so they can consolidate the base around themselves. I don't know if you've seen like what Ted Cruz is saying is awful and what Mike Pompeo is saying is awful. All these folks are trying to kind of position themselves to be the 2024 kind of new Trump. And so they're trying to out-crazy Trump in order for those Trump people to kind of attach themselves to them. So that's kind of the really annoying thing right now is that Trump is gone, but now there's 10 more Trumps because there's this base that is ready to vote for them.
It's a babushka doll. You open one and Trump's inside.
It is. It's like some sort of stupid Hydra.
Yeah.
But I do have this little bit of hope in me that, one day they get it. Just like the QAnon supporters, there's going to be a moment where, I'm just hoping. Here's the way I see it. Like a whole bunch of Trump supporters are out shopping and they run into another bunch of Trump supporters.
Oh no, I think we lost.
We'll never hear the end of this story.
Tommy Dean promised that we may lose him because his home internet is terrible.
They're just about to talk about how.
Oh, he was there. Now he's gone.
Hello,
Tommy. Do you want to start that joke again, Tommy? Go for it.
What that I just hit the punchline.
And it killed, Tommy. It killed.
Your internet cut out. Can you?
No, that's terrible because your voice never did. I heard you complaining that I was cutting out. I think, how can I cut out but not cut out?
Do you want to just?
So anyway, okay.
Hang on, for the podcast, you can just pick it up. So if you want to still tell the joke again, that'll be great.
Where was I?
Just from the start.
The people are just running to each other in the mall.
Here's my dream. My dream is that we will come together because a group of Trump supporters will be coming down the aisle and another Trump supporter group will be coming down the aisle. And they're both that sort of extended each side of crazy. And they're going to be wanting to talk about how awful the world is. And then together, as two disparate groups, they will suddenly discover as one that T-shirts are still unbelievably cheap at Walmart. And they'll be so happy. And they'll all buy a new T-shirt that says, America, it's kind of okay.
Yeah. Thank God for globalism.
That's what I have to go back to. Make it great again. It's always been kind of okay. That's the T-shirt we have to sell. It was never terrible. Even talk of it being in ruin now is oversold. It's always been kind of okay.
I think in 2021, that's all you can ask for. All you can ask for is your nation state to be kind of okay.
Kind of okay.
Yeah. Well, speaking of kind of okay, I think this podcast tonight was kind of okay.
What more do you want? What more do you want?
What do you want? What do you want? Well, people are paying for it now, so we should deliver something good. That's it for Irrational Fear. A big thank you. Big thank you to Tommy Dean, Lucina Price, and Lewis Hobba. Do you folks have anything to plug? Tommy, do you want to plug anything?
I'm going to be selling I'm okay T-shirts. I'm kind of okay. It's kind of okay. Oops, I got my own joke wrong. It's kind of okay.
Frooms, do you have anything to plug?
Yes, I have my Flight Facilities remix of my song Frooms World the Song. That's going to come out next week.
Excuse me? Who's remixing it?
Flight Facilities.
Oh, my God.
So it's coming out next week, and then wait for the album drop at least by August.
Wow.
This is a prank gone too far, Frooms.
I've been serious the whole time.
I can't wait for the invitation to the wedding.
Lewis, do you have any shows coming up? Maybe one in February that you want to plug?
I've just found out about a really great show, 100th episode of Irrational Fear in February, Giant Dwarf Theatre. You'd be mad to miss it. Incredible lineup of guests, including the much better me, Hamish Blake.
But perhaps we haven't sold. Well, I'm just waiting for him so I can announce it. But he said pencil it in, so I'm taking that as locked in. As locked in as a good piece of Lego.
I mean, don't. That's specifically not what pencil it in meant. You really.
Big thanks to Road Mikes, the Bertha Foundation, our wonderful Patreon supporters with whom we cannot do this. By the way, if you are a Patreon supporter, you get discounts to the live show. So make sure you head along, look at Patreon, get the discount code, plug that in. Now I'm going to leave you. Big thank you also to Jacob Brown, Virginia Gay, Rupert Dagas, Killian David, David Bluestein, our Discord jockeys, Covert Kizza, P. McNeil, Ads, Peter Lawler, and Miss Maddie P. We'll leave you with this. As is tradition, most presidents leave each other a little handover note wishing the incoming president well. We've actually managed to get a copy of Donald's letter that he gave to Joe Biden. Here it is.
Dear Joe, as you are senile, I will write this letter slowly. As I leave the White House with my wife and her lookalikes, I reflect on my time here as a career highlight, up there with when I played a successful hotel owner in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Even though you had the highest amount of votes in U.S. history, I had the second highest, and second is better than first. Just as 2 is higher than 1. That's just a fact. Look it up. So with that in mind, congratulations on pulling off a hoax election and undermining the country. I doff my red cap your way, and have chosen to write this letter in my finest crayon. You have ruined democracy in ways I could only dream, and I usually only dream of the Hamburglar, but as a chick with big tatas. It has been an honor being the president of a country that would allow me to be president. Sincerely, Donald J. Trump. P.S. Follow me on Parler. P.P.S. Actually, don't follow me on Parler.
That was
That's
beautiful.
it. Thank you. That was the wonderful Rupert Dagas, written by Killian David and produced up by Jacob Brown. That was very good. Thanks, everyone. That's it.
Love it.
Right.
Thanks, Dan.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
See you, gang.
Thanks, Tommy. Thanks, Lewis. That was great.
Yeah, that was fun. Thanks, Dan. Nice to be back.
I'll send you an email about Monday over the weekend.
Oh, fuck, yeah. Yeah, please do.
Okay. So yeah.
Bye.
Do you just kick us out, or do I leave?
Oh no, you're there, but you're leaving.
Do you kick me out, or do I press leave studio?
You can press leave studio, or we can have a chat if you like.
I just want you to know that also in the tech failure world, I got some sort of iPhone touch problem. I could literally not make the record button. Nothing would touch on the voice memo.
Oh, that's okay. That's totally fine.
I hope this all worked really good.
I think it recorded all right. So thanks, Tommy.
So if it didn't, just do some voiceover work with my mouth.
Sounded pretty
There's a
clear
blank
on my end. Your lips are moving, but there's no sound. I don't know what's going on there.
I mean, you fill that in later.
Oh yeah, thank you. Oh, thank you. Yeah. And
Excellent.
that's why Richard Glover can suck my dick.
Again.
Thanks, Tommy. Catch you later.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.